Topic 2 continues where topic 1 left off. Still looking more at the symbols and how to note things in geometry and decipher these figures. So notice we have a figure here. You can see that we have the cursive capital R, the italicized capital R, and this grayed region is representing our plane, and planes extend forever. Don't be misled into thinking, oh, the plane would eventually come up and pick up E and D. So it's hard to draw things that are not one or particularly two-dimensional on a flat piece of paper. But since E and D have clearly been marked outside of that plane, then they're basically floating around in another dimension. So picture all of the points on the flat surface of my paper, and then just picture these two die. Let's let them represent points. If I pick them up off the paper, they might look like they're in the plane if we were looking at it, say, from a bird's eye view, like your view from my camera, but you can see that I lifted them up. So they are no longer contained in the plane of this paper. And that's what's intended with the E and the D here. All right, so we're going to select all the statements that apply to this particular figure and review some vocabulary in the process. So remember, capital printed letters, we read these as point A, point B, point C, and point D, are coplanar. Co means together. So are all of them together in the same plane? Are they all contained in plane R? Well, I've got A, I've got B, I've got C, but notice D it's actually up above the plane. So that is not true. We won't select that one. Collinear means they're going to be together on the same line. So do we find points A, B, C, and F on the same line? No, they're all in the same plane. They're coplanar, but they are not collinear, so we cannot check that. A, B, and N. A, B, and N are collinear and coplanar in plane R. So first of all, do we find them on the same line? Yes. And do we find them all in the same plane? Yes. So this is the first one that we'll be able to check. Does point B lie on, and remember we read this with the arrows over at the ends as line AN. So does B lie on line AN? Yes, line AN continues forever and it contains B. This is true. Are points A, C, and F coplanar in plane R? Do those 3 points all lie in the same plane? A, C, and F are all contained in this gray surface that represents the plane, so yes. Do points C, D, E, and F all lie on plane R? Well, if we can find even one of them, and the one of them that does not is E, then that's not a true statement. And then remember how we read this. Let's write this one more time in your book. You read this as the distance from A to N, the length of line segment AN. So the distance from A to N plus the distance from N to B, would that equal the distance from A all the way to B? So would this plus this equal the whole thing? Well, do we have two parts being pieced together that equal the whole? We do. That's what the segment addition postulate tells us, so that's going to be true. All right, continuing on. So this is tricky, and you might want to pause the video and try it. It's a little challenging, but we need to draw this. We're going to sketch it. Some of you are going to find that sketching is really difficult for you. I will admit, after all these years, I'm still not particularly good at it, but we're trying to draw things in 3 dimensions here. So we want to draw a plane Q. In that plane, because it's going to contain, we need to have segment AB, ray BC, and it, and by it means the plane, it also intersects line PR, but only at point M. We're going to use the plane to sketch that below. Well, if you look over here, notice the planes are just drawn with these rectangular regions. So I'll just go ahead and I'm going to give myself, just do the best I can, and it's plane Q. I'm going to make every effort to make my fancy capital cursive Q. There's my plane. All right, it contains line segment A, B. So connects endpoints A and B. That's contained in the plane. It also contains ray BC. Now you have liberty with how you draw ray BC. You could make it an extension of that line segment, but there's nothing about it that says those points have to be collinear. So I think I'll draw BC going this way. And this plane intersects PR, line PR, but only at point M. So that means that P is not in the plane and neither is R. So I'm gonna draw this line, like such. So picture this piece of paper is plane Q, and what I'm trying to sketch is my line's gonna pass through that plane, okay? It's gonna enter it from the top and come out the bottom. I'm trying to draw that. So we have the intersection is going to happen at point M. So right here at this hole that I made in the paper, that's point M. So here's point M on the plane. We have the line that's coming down and hitting the plane, and then I can use a dotted line to show that, you know, passing underneath the paper, the part we can't see, but it goes forever, so eventually it'll drop down underneath that plane. Now it's line PR. I need to be sure that I mark it as such. P is not in the plane. R is not in the plane, okay? And they intersect at point M. So I believe we've done everything they ask us to do. And the thing is, yours does not have to look exactly like mine. As long as it meets those criteria, it would be considered correct. All right.